rape room. And now they're getting mobile rape rooms. I mean, they're getting armored pill boxes to like, because again, for a dungeon keeper, a bunch of them are pedophiles that's come out. Dragging your child off and freaking them out is enjoyment alone. But yeah, oh yeah, any more talk like that? Again, they touch your groin, but they don't want you talking about what they're about to do. So how did it end? Did he get his pleasures?
Well, he didn't really do nothing. I mean, the pat down was all right. I mean, then he went over to this desk. He said, "I'll be right back," and then he goes, "All right, you can go through." So I got on my flight. And then another thing with this Colorado bombing, I mean, this ain't related, but last year they had in Nebraska or Iowa, they had a PhD. I don't know why these guys are doing something stupid, but you can look it up too. As in Iowa, they had he ran over 5 motorcyclists and he killed 2 people in cars, and he was drunk or on drugs, and he was a PhD, and then I mean, I don't know why these guys...
Well, you know the answer, ban cars. Of course, I shouldn't joke. They are talking about making us all be robot-controlled in the future. They're going to roll out the Google cars they now have. They're going to have a better safety record, and they're just going to ban us driving our own cars. Folks, you heard it here first. Just watch. That's about 5-6 years away. They'll first give you insurance discounts if you let the robot take over part of the time. And then finally, they're just going to phase out humans driving altogether because there's going to be so much distracted driving. Thank you for the call. All right, I'm going to go to Jeff and David and El Ray and Ted here in just a moment. But first, I wanted to play this clip. And this is from the Nightly News Friday with Darren McBreen. It's titled, ATF Bots Threatens Whistleblowers. In fact, I'm going to Twitter this shot at Real Alex Jones right now, even though it went up this weekend because it's so powerful. And McBreen makes a little joke at the end about the ATF boss because it's like Big Brother. It's a video with him from the head down to his chest, and he's standing there with a blue background, and he's saying, you know, basically, well, the full video's out there because the ATF didn't follow orders and leaked it, that you'll be punished if you whistleblow. You've got to go through the chain of command up to Eric Holder, who's in contempt of Congress and ordered the entire operation for Obama to blame the Second Amendment. And the Chicago Tribune and El Paso Times report, they also ship drugs back in mass by the tons, but the media outside of that never picks it up. So you're supposed to just report to, I mean, if a gang member in your neighborhood, let's say, rapes your daughter, you should find the leader of the gang and go to them and tell them about it. I'm sure they'll really care about that a whole lot. Or if a wild dog bites you, if you live out in the country, go find the leader of the pack and dress up, you know, like a sheep or something in the middle of the night and see if they don't attack you. So here he is in everybody's face. And the Senate, you know, sent letters and said, this sounds like a threat. Number one, folks, you're supposed to report on criminal activity to another agency or media. You have a duty to do it. And the fact is they have the NSA overtime spying on government employees to try to make sure you don't report on them. So the answer is everybody start leaking info. The answer is everybody start speaking out. The answer is take action so they can't stop everybody. You understand that? Okay, let's go ahead and go to this report by Darren McBreen and then back to your phone calls.
Choices and consequences. And when I'm talking about choices and consequences, I'm talking about the disciplinary process. What my expectation is, as the acting director, when it comes to the disciplinary process, choices and consequences simply means that as an employee of ATF, should you decide not to abide by the standards of conduct or the rules of the road, should you decide that you're not going to play by the rules, there will be consequences. Choices and consequences mean simply that if you make poor choices, that if you don't abide by the rules, that if you don't respect the chain of command, if you don't find the appropriate way to raise your concerns to your leadership, there will be consequences.
There you go. That's the one without McBreen's commentary. The one that is, you know, hilarious that Darren did and about 50 times more powerful. It's up at the Alex Jones channel at YouTube, and I will have that twittered out to everybody. ATF boss threatens whistleblowers. Again, I would have played it. I'm not baiting you to, go to my Twitter to see it. I just asked for that all day. That's not what we got, so too bad. Okay, let's go ahead and talk to Jeff in Oklahoma. Jeff, you're on the air. Welcome.
How you doing, sir? Thanks for taking my call.
I'm doing okay. Go ahead.
I just wanted to run a couple of things by. You already talked about one of them. I turned on the mainstream media to see what kind of lies they were selling us today. And they show the Colorado shooter for his first court appearance, and you can definitely tell that they've got him drugged up on something. I mean, he can barely move. He looks like he's about to go to sleep. All of a sudden, his eyes jolt. He turns, looks all over the place, goes into a trance. They ask him if he has anything to say, and he doesn't even respond.
No, I've interviewed people that were on death row with McVeigh. And from death row, who, without their knowledge, got in on the show. The lawyers, Jesse Trinidad, set it up. And I've talked to others. McVeigh would do this all the time. And Jolly and West was in there every day. Or every other day. The famous mind control doctor. And then McVeigh could suddenly talk and stuff when they'd roll him out. And then when he wasn't on drugs, he would explain to the other cellmates or people across the cells that, yeah, he was a government mind control subject and was in special ops, and that they set him up and they were going to kill his family if he told the truth. So, I mean, it just goes on and on. And now they wheel him out, as I predicted, and he doesn't, I mean, they said he was flopping around spitting and didn't know who he was. And then now here he is, and there's no discussion of he's insane. You know, now he just goes to a mental institution. No, they're gonna go right ahead with the whole process, because it's just, I mean, look, folks, they could grab me, drug me up, commit a crime, say I did it, put me on Devil's Breath or Halcyon, have me say I did it on the news, just like our troops when the North Vietnamese captured them, you know, saying that they'd been, doing all these things they hadn't done, and then send me to jail. Or they could do it to anybody. And then he's in a Department of Defense funded, advanced, neuro interface program at the university there. And that's where these guys just keep coming from. What do you think?
I think it's pretty strange. I think my eyes are pretty wide open nowadays, because once you find the truth and things, you can see through the lies. It's pretty easy.
Well, I mean, even that, maybe he was a lone crazy who looks totally drugged up in court, and they're not telling us they drugged him up. I mean, that's a whole issue right there. The issue here is, if the government's done this over and over again and writes memos saying how great it would be, and have been caught doing stuff like this to demonize the Second Amendment, a.k.a. Fast and Furious, you've got to look at them as the #1 suspect. That's all I'm saying here.
Agree. Another subject I kind of wanted to touch base on, it's a little different, but it's about the general public. Me and my wife went to a movie theater last week, and they were playing classics, and we went to watch Clockwork Orange, which I'm sure you're probably aware of it. And while we were sitting in there, they have a lot of scenes that are really pretty bad. I mean, trying to commit suicide, sexual assault. And while these things are happening, the people sitting in the theater are giggling and chuckling like it's something cute and funny. And I'm losing.
Wait. You went and saw Clockwork Orange re-aired in a theater and people were liking it?
Yeah, they were chuckling and like giggling when he's trying to commit suicide.
Ooh, that's an idea for us to do, is sneak a camera in sometime when they have a showing at the Paramount or something of Clockwork Orange, because I've been in movies like Natural Born Killers is designed to show you how horrible the media is and how sickening violence is. When I was younger, I didn't get that. And I thought it was like just, that it was pushing senseless violence. It's the opposite. And Oliver Stone, since then, I've actually watched the commentaries. He explains that. But people were giggling and laughing during Rape and Murder during the movie. And so you're saying you went and saw it at a theater that reran it and people were getting off on it?
Yeah. And me and my wife were both looking at each other like, that's not the point you're supposed to get out of this movie. The point is the movie
is about mind control. And it's about the government releasing criminals out of the prison and making them the police to target the nonviolent population in an authoritarian takeover. A Clockwork Orange is a powerful novel that Kubrick made the film out of. And you notice in the film, it's writers who, and it's that writer who's written A Clockwork Orange. Hence, that's the name of the novel. I appreciate your call. Great points. Okay, I'm going to hit some more news on the other side, then some calls. Then we're going to go back to our guests. But I've got a bunch of news I've got to hit on. Chertoff suggests pre-crime solution to mass shooting. Psychopaths, they want TSA in the theaters. Again, the new symbol of America is a pot-bellied pedophile groping your children. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central, we are here live. We also have Infowars Nightly News that I host, Darren McBreen hosts, of course, Rob Dew, Paul Watson, Aaron Dykes, and many others. And we are in the process of interviewing quite a few of the finalists for the Infowars Reporter Contest. And we're going to be hiring some of those folks very soon, so you'll see them here on air and also see their reports here on the radio show. Hear the reports on the radio show. See them for viewers at prisonplanet.tv. Continuing with the news, I haven't even gotten in all the video clips of eyewitnesses saying multiple shooters, tear gas canisters, smoke bombs from different sides. I haven't even gotten into all that yet. I also covered yesterday the history of government-sponsored terror, dozens of examples of our so-called government and other governments staging events to blame it on their political enemies. And if you go to Infowars.com, we do have that video report from last night's radio show posted on the site. But again, Chertoff suggests pre-crime solution to mass shooting psychosis. Eerie coincidence, Colorado University had identical drill on same day as Batman massacre. Feds admit NSA spying violated Fourth Amendment, but they're not going to stop. First China, then the world. UN uses China as launch pad for one world government, one-child policy, so they want that worldwide. Colorado shooter had more in common with paramilitary police than Batman. Top Pakistani politician calls drone strikes insane, immoral war crimes. Yeah, they'll kill like 20, 30, 40, 100 plus innocent people to get one bad guy. But that's not a tragedy when the whole, apartment building gets blown up with a bunch of little kids in it. But the same government that does that wouldn't stage a theater shooting. They wouldn't stage Fast and Furious either. NBC's Gregory blames Batman massacre on angry political dialogue, insinuates Rush Limbaugh to blame for shooting. You didn't know it was Rush Limbaugh's fault that guy's clearly out of his mind with a Bozo the Clown hairdo. It's not the Batman franchise's fault. I'm not saying it is, even though it conditions people. Certainly not Rush Limbaugh, but wonder who would blame that on Rush Limbaugh. Huh? Again, I said they do something like this and blame us for it, and they're doing it. And they write memos saying how great it would be to have this, but you know what? They're not suspects. Sure, they got the UN treaty next week and everything, but they're not suspects. No, we are. Rush Limbaugh. It's his fault, folks. Don't look at Obama or Attorney General Holder. Do not look at them. I don't mean just encouraging the guy. No, I mean, setting him up. They'd never do that. Even small-town police departments get caught all the time framing people for murders they've committed. But the big feds, they wouldn't do anything like that. So everything is just fine, ladies and gentlemen. NBC's Gregory blames Batman massacre on angry political dialogue. Remind me, guys, when the guests join us to play that clip, queuing it up to where they blame Rush Limbaugh. Because that's one of the most important points here. Is Friday, Paul Watson wrote an article in the early morning saying they'd blame the Second Amendment and that they would blame talking